Hey, what's up, y'all? Back again, doing a flight attendant vlog. Really, no more. It's been a while. Don't have a Loot Crate coming in and stuff like that. But I do want to touch bases on some flight attendant stuff. Been really busy with stuff. With new hires, new people coming into the company, flying or stuff like that, and doing what I have to do as part as a senior flight attendant and also a union rep. But I did want to touch bases because I am applying for a different position. So I was sitting here doing my stuff, getting my, redoing my resume and stuff like that, and I realized one thing: a lot of people, when they come to apply for being a flight attendant and stuff like that, there are so many people who get turned away at the door. Before they even get in the door, they get turned away. There's certain things that you need to have and make sure that you do before you walk into any place that you're about to apply for, especially as a flight attendant. First things first, make sure you have everything that you need. All right. Put out a plan. Set out a plan on how to get everything put together and done, so you don't get that invite to come to the interviews and a face-to-face, and you don't have that piece of paper, or you don't have that document, or you don't have something, or you're not dressed correctly, and then you're sent away. And then next thing you know, you can't apply for another 6 months. So you just wasted a good opportunity and having to wait 6 more months. So that's 6 more months out of your time with a company or airline that you want to fly with. So this is what I propose to you guys. And I did this when I first started, when I first applied. Of course, my interview process was totally different than what most airlines do today. My interview process took 3 days. 3 days. So, it was an intense kind of process. It wasn't like intense the way it is now, where it's all combined in one day. Mine was in 3 days, so it stressed you out over a period of time. This is how my interview went. So for day one, they would call you and like, hey, we would like to have an interview with you. You could come out to what at that time was called an open house. So they just slewed a bunch of people together, and you showed up. Probably about 500 so people, 1,000 people. How many people were there? I can't remember. I know mine was between probably like 700 to 800 people when I went to apply. So after that, so we get there, and the day was just listening to the company explain about the airline and about their culture and everything like that, showing us a couple of videos and everything. And then they came to the part where they talked to us, and that was pretty much like a 90-second process for just for me. Okay, so they had a certain set of rules, and you had to follow those rules in order to get through the process. And basically, they're just like, hey, you have a number, say your number, say your name, give us 3 things about you, say your name, say your number, walk away and go back to sit down. And that was it. That was your instructions. Some people couldn't even follow those simple instructions. Some people forgot to say the number. Some people went over the 90 seconds. It was crazy. But then after that, they were like, all right, we'll let you go. We'll call you if we want you to come back tomorrow for the second interview. What? So we don't even know when we left. So I actually got a phone call to come back for the second interview. On my way back home, I was still driving, and so the second day I came back, and it was a group interview where we had 10 people, and it was a panel of 4 people who were interviewing us, and they told us they did more of a back and forth with you. So they asked you a couple questions, you answered it and stuff like that. And then at the end, after the end of talking to you, you would have to read a script, which was for our airline, it was the arrival announcement. And listening to everybody, everybody seemed the same. And you know, these type of interviews, you want to kind of stick out. So what I did, I gave a different arrival. I said the script, but I told them the interview took place in Fort Lauderdale. Everybody said Fort Lauderdale. I think I said Las Vegas. Go figure, right? But that made me stand out, because then they stopped. They're like, "Why'd you choose Vegas?" I'm like, "Well, the airlines does fly to more places than just Fort Lauderdale, correct?" And they were like, "Yeah, good point." So it's made me stick out. I'm like, that's a notch. You're like, hey, that's a good thing. So make sure you stick out. Do something positive that sticks out from you. Then we left there, and then they also told you they weren't going to tell you if you're hired or not, and they'll call you back. And then like 2 days later, they called me for a third interview, which was going to be at the corporate office with a one-on-one with the main person above the flight attendants and everything like that. Still didn't get a say if I was an employee or not, if I was gotten offered a CGAO, conditional job offer, which is a CGO. They just told me, they were like, hey, we'll get back to you if you're hired. If not, you're not. I think it was about 2 weeks later, then they finally called me and told me that, hey, we'd like to offer you a job and the training and stuff like that. So that was that. But before all that started, and nowadays at my airline, everything's down to 1 day. So by the end of the day, you know if you're going to go to training or not. So, but before you do all that, you have to have all your stuff together. And they tell you what you need to have, exactly what you need to have, what you need to bring. They give you everything that you need to make sure that you come to the interview correctly. So make sure you dress appropriately, like you're going to a job interview. Nothing too flashy, nothing too boisterous. Your job, you're in for an interview, for a career, a regular career. All right. So first thing you need to do, and they give you a list, just have your resume. I have my resume here, because like I said, I'm applying for another position. So, but when you go in, you always want to have your resume. They already have it, but you want them to, thanks air conditioner, you want to have another copy. They're going to ask you for another copy of it, because you know they just want to see if you do it. But you don't want to just give them one copy. You want to print out 3 different copies. 3 copies, not 3 different ones, but 3 copies of your resume. Okay, always do things in 3. Remember that, things in 3. So 3 copies of your resume. All right. You also, being a flight attendant, you have to. There's no way around it. You gotta have a passport. Hey, I say if you don't have a passport, you can't be a friend of mine, because I'm not gonna go back and forth between Vegas and Miami with you on vacations. Passport in hand, okay? You gotta have a passport. And they're gonna also ask you, but they're gonna ask you for a photocopy of it, and also your social security card, okay? So make copies of it. 1, 2, 3, all right? Things of 3. Copies of 3. So there's your passport, there's your social security number, this card, all printed on one sheet. Do it on one sheet. It doesn't matter. Hey, save paper, right? Put it on one sheet. Make 3 copies of it. There's your 3 copies. Make sure you do take your passport and your social security card with you to the interview, because this pretty much, if you get offered the job, you're going to do paperwork, and they need to do all that, okay? Second form of ID, which is pretty much your driver's license. If you have anything else that has a photo ID, that's perfect for you. Another thing on the passport, say if you're a legal resident and you're able to, you have proof that you can work inside the United States, you want to have that It shows proof that you can prove that you've worked inside the United States. If you're a U.S. citizen, you don't need that. If you have another passport, because you have dual citizenship, bring that, copies of that. Also, and I think if you have a green card, you know, bring that as well. What else you want to do? I'm looking at this. So they're going to ask you for high school diploma, or your GED, or college degree like that. Make copies of them if you have them. I actually have mine on my wall, so I can take them out, make copies, stuff like that. They usually don't ask you for the exact link, so they just ask you just to bring a copy of it, so that's fine. If you can't find it, or don't have them, or they're in another state, they're in storage or whatever, transcripts, unofficial or official transcripts. Go ahead and get this stuff. This is the hardest part. This is the one thing that most people don't have. Is their high school diploma, GED, college degree, or the transcripts. Just get the transcripts. If you didn't go to college, that's fine. High school diploma, most airlines just want a high school diploma. But have the transcripts at least, and make copies of it. They don't have to be official. Unofficial ones work at most airlines. So just go ahead and make copies. But make sure to double check with the airline exactly which one. But you want to have this stuff in hand. Some places you need a ticket to get in. I know with our company, you have to have an invite to show up to the interview. You can't just walk in. And also make sure right now, start researching and doing the background stuff on yourself. A 10-year background check on yourself. Where you lived for the last 10 years. Every address that you have. You moved 7 times, and they need all 7 addresses for those last 10 years. Places you worked in the last 10 years. Every company that you worked for, address, phone number, supervisor name, there. Education. Because some of you guys are young and you don't have 10 years of work history, but you do have some school. You went to high school, some of you guys went to college. Make sure you have that information down too. You know, who your high school was, the dates that you attended, and thing like that. Same thing with college, dates you attended college, name, address, and stuff like that. Okay, boom, you get that. Make sure, write it chronologically, and make sure there is no gaps. Now, if there is a gap, say you didn't work, say you was unemployed, say you went traveling, say whatever you wanted. Whatever you did, make sure you have what that gap was, and somebody who can verify that this is what you were doing during that gap of work or school. Okay, so if you went abroad, you need somebody that can say, hey, yeah, they were traveling abroad in South America for 6 months. Okay, or whatever. So make sure you had that gap verified, and so they know exactly what you've been doing for the last 10 years. This is important stuff, people. I'm just saying. Sorry about that. I really need to go through the stuff on my memory card and delete it. But like I said, most of the stuff you need to have. You need to do this research. You need to make sure, get a folder. Put everything inside of a folder. Make sure you get a checklist and put it on top. Check it off as soon as you get it. As soon as you get it, put it inside the folder. That way you have everything you need when you go to the interview. That's why you just put it out there like I'm very prepared. It's the same thing that we do when we go flying. We have to make sure we have everything together. We gotta make sure we have our manuals or our devices, make sure it's been charged, make sure we're in uniform, make sure we're in full compliance in uniform, all that stuff. We have to do a checklist for ourselves. The pilots have to do a checklist when they're about to take off and stuff like that. So do this for yourself, okay? This is the best way to do it, and to make sure that you are already on the best foot when you enter the doors to go to the interview. That's the advice I can give you. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you do that. Just a heads up, because you don't want to go there, be turned away before you even step foot in an interview to talk to anybody in there. You want to be able to be the person you remembered for coming in and having everything together, and not the person remembered for missing something. Simple and plain. Alright, you guys, I'm out. I'm going to go ahead and finish up what I got to do for applying for this next position. Thank you for watching. Trust me, I'll be back. And I appreciate you guys. Send a like, make a comment, share this video. Thanks, you guys. I'm out. Peace out. Resume in hand.